Final match here of our Season 1 Invitational. Winner, $20,000 buys and free entry into Opens and Classics. Their likeness on a token. And most importantly, a winner's interview with Nick Miller. Mm-hmm. Because not many people get that. And
perhaps a surprise interview with Matthias Hunt, depending where he's skulking around on the floor.
That's true. You don't know where he's going to be. He could be anywhere.
You can usually find him because of the hat. But he's done a very good job camouflaging in.
That's true.
Surprising people. Ask him how they felt about the match they just won.
I want to be the winner. I want to do the winners. I want to do the on the floor reporting.
Oh, I want to do after hours guerrilla reporting.
Oh, after hours.
On or after. I mean, okay. I'm happy either way. But
I want to shove a mic right in someone's face after they win or lose. I could get some answers out of Kawhi Leonard for sure.
Just go up to the person who just lost and go, just like, what do you think was the worst play your opponent made? Like, I would love it. I would have such a good time with that.
On a scale of 10, how mad are you just lost?
Right.
Where are you going?
Where are you going?
Yeah. We could ask the tough questions. Tough acting, Thanakit. What is that, by the way? Tough acting, Thanakit. Anybody know?
I think it's a fungal spray.
That's tough. Athlete's foot cure, I've been.
Yeah.
Well, it better be tough acting then. Both these players taking a look at their opening hand. If they want to sponsor us, they can.
Poorly named because afflicted my father, who was not an athlete.
I would say it's not poorly named. I remembered it.
No, I meant athlete's foot.
Not that's just a made-up thing. No one even knows what that is. We're underway. Hallowed Fountain to begin here for Colin Roundtree.
Well, I did it, and so did our producer, at least. So
two-thirds no one knows what is athlete's foot. No one actually knows what that is. You just know that it's a thing. Llanowar Elves for Kevin, hero of Precinct 1. For Collin, great starts here for both players. Is there a removal spell? No, there's a Wild Growth Walker. Rountree, be a great time for Teferi. Just saying. Another hero, but no third land. Tough break there for Collin. Kevin does have a third land. It's going to be a Hinterland Harbor that enters the battlefield untapped. He's going to tap 3 mana. He's going to play a Jade Light Ranger. That's going to be double Explorer. Command the Dreadhoard's a top card. It's hard to say no to that unless you already have one in hand. But I suppose you could always get it back with Tameo as well. Looks like Kevin's going to leave it on top. 2 counters on the Jade Light Ranger, 2 counters on the Wild Growth Walker. Going to gain 6 life up to 24. Could even make an attack now if he wants.
Yeah, all other things being equal, even if you think the call is close here, ensuring keeping a spell on top of the deck. It's a spot where Thanakit kind of wants to get the game over with before Rountree draws out of it, and just having the largest creatures on the battlefield is a good path there.
Well, Rountree's got 3 copies of Hero of Precinct 1. Let's see what this is going to be. It could be Nissa who shakes the world, and it is. So the powerful Planeswalker is going to join the fray as well now. Kevin's going to be untapping a land and adding some counters to it. That land, of course, will have Vigilance, and it's going to be a Woodland Cemetery.
And as good as the start is for Thanakit, if Rountree happens to find a third land and a gold spell, the ground gets locked up pretty fast. And then Thanakit kind of has to pivot to his later game involving Hydroid, Krasis, and Planeswalkers.
Now, is it worth tendering on double block here in the Woodland Cemetery? That's, I think, a real question here because you do want to kind of cut out the mana resources when you're playing against Nissa. However, it looks like all this damage is going to come through. So if you're Colin Roundtree, you got to find something like a Teferi or the ability to cast some sort of gold spell this turn.
Yeah.
Black Source necessary.
Land number 3 gets you to a spot where you might be able to kill the Nissa if you can get rid of the 3/3 with Oath of Kaya or with a Teferi. It looks like Rountree has it.
Looks like Oath of Kaya is exactly what the doctor ordered, and now you're going to see those heroes take care of that Nissa, and you've got some good creatures back on defense, and you have to imagine every spell that Colin plays moving forward is going to generate 3 tokens. I'd be shocked if that didn't happen. Remember that Rountree knows that Thanakit does have a copy of Command the Dreadhorde in hand.
Which there isn't a whole lot to be done about that other than trying your best to contain Thanakit's mana. Maybe even a removal spell on Llanowar Elves somewhere down the line. It's going to be hard to keep him off of 6 forever, though.
There's a Jade-Light Ranger. Triggers aplenty. Breeding Pool is 1. Next one is Command the Dreadhorde. That is going to go into the graveyard because Thanakit already has one of those. Wild Growth Walker will grow and gain a little bit of life as we go. This should bring Thanakit up to 30, and it does. And is there attack to be had here? It's going to be Chump Block City almost no matter what. Here comes Wild Growth Walker and the Jade Light Ranger. Keep in mind, Jade Light Ranger is a 4-3, so a triple block, pardon me, could have been tendered, but will not be. We're going to head over to Colin Roundtree now. He will draw a card very quickly. I have to imagine he's got spells to cast at this stage, now that he finally found that third land in Black Mana Source, and you can at least see a Dispark in hand. His
life total being the way that it is, though, he's got to put an emphasis on casting gold cards here. Even something like Narset may not be a very good use of his turn.
Going to fall down to 6.
Needs more chump blockers.
Well, here's 4 of them. Basilica Bellhaunt, 3 life, 3 more blockers. Let's call it 4 in addition to the Bellhaunt itself. And, of course, Thanakit will have to discard. It looks like he discarded a Woodland Cemetery. So let's go ahead and move back over to Kevin as Colin is starting to catch up here, I'd say. And the Command the Dreadhorde's not particularly good right now.
No, not a lot going on with the graveyard here, but I think Thanakit just picked up a Tamiyo. He might pivot to kind of trying to hang back on defense here a little bit and fill up his graveyard.
Mm-hmm. Something that Tamiyo does an excellent job of.
Because if Thanakit pluses the Tamiyo, it's not realistic for Rountree to be able to get to it on the way back without having to put his real creatures into combat.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, the Command the Dreadhorde that Rountree already knows about becomes even better.
Well, there is a block on the Jade Light Ranger very quickly by a token. This is Tamiyo.
Yeah, I was not a big fan of that attack there. I think if Thanakit wants to go up to 6 here, he's a lot better with the Jade Light Ranger back on defense than Rountree being down the 1 token.
Take a look at the top couple of cards. The name is Hydroid Crisis. It's a whiff, as Nissa, Llanowar Elves, and Assassin Trophy head into the graveyard among the relevant cards that are down there now. We're heading back over to Rountree. He's found another land, I believe, in Godless Shrine. So he should be functioning pretty well right now. He's going to go towards Nissa. Nissa's not going to bring any tokens along with it, but it will bring a little bit of card advantage. So, oh, Narset, pardon me, not Nissa. Is there a Thought Eraser there? I have to imagine that's what he's looking for. Okay, it's going to be Teferi instead.
Players in the Modern Summer Championship, your pairings for round 7 are online.
Those 3 cards will randomly go to the bottom. All right, Godless Shrine untapped, down to 7.
As well as making their way to the pairings board, including your standings on the pairings board as well.
Is this the Thought
Make sure
Eraser?
you find your seats.
This is Dispark to take care of Tammy. Okay, so that problem's solved too. 3 more tokens. Now, Collin can't start attacking yet, but he does have to find an answer to the Command the Dreadhorde that's in hand, even though it's not that good of a Command the Dreadhorde just yet.
Well, I mean, the answer to it is, I think that Rountree can just play on through it. Right now, what you're looking at getting back, a Nissa, a Llanowar Elves, not a whole lot of consequence. The Nissa's not worth a ton because the ground for the time being is locked up.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, here's the Jade Light Ranger attack again. This is one of those times, yeah, where you could gang block, or you could just say, you know what, I'll just single block because I don't want that in your graveyard.
Right. Part of it is don't want to trade off. Also, I think Rountree could be better served with a lot of chump blocking to manage his own planeswalkers rather than trying to trade off on the battlefield.
Sure. Woodland Cemetery is the land. Crisis was added to the grip. That's what Tamiyo was trying to find, and it succeeded as we head back over to Colin Roundtree. Narset activation. Top handful of cards. Teferi is the find. Rountree's got to feel like he's doing pretty well to be keeping up in this game, given the difficult start, as he's really starting to dig his heels in and get his card advantage engines online.
Yeah, I mean, the ground's locked up, so that gives him a lot of cushion here to buy some time, get his own players walkers online, and it really puts the burden on Thanakit to get it over with because everything else kind of staying at parity. Rountree gets to play towards a Teferi emblem, and that's easily going to win the game.
Speaking of Teferi, here it is. The Hero of Dominaria has arrived. As 3 more soldier tokens are made there from Hero of Precinct 1. So, Teferi is on 5.
Modern Championship players.
It's going to go on down to 1. So it starts on 4, goes down to 1. I think Rountree was thinking about drawing a card, elected not to. Going to tuck something away, and we're going to head back over to Thanakit. Tucking away the Tameo if it wasn't obvious enough. Let's see what comes next here for Kevin, as this game's starting to slip away a little bit here for him. Hinterland Harbor, the land.
Yeah, his Krasis is not worth a whole lot in the face of the Narset. His creatures on the ground are not worth a whole lot against Rountree's board. And he's under some burden to try to pressure the Teferi as well.
I know you feel as though if this game stays within 7 to 12 turns, it's probably okay for Sultai Dreadhorde, but if we go longer than that, it's probably bad news.
Yeah, long enough timeline. I think Superhero is good. Well, I wouldn't necessarily say that. I think the Superheroes deck is liable to flood out in those sort of games, whereas Sultai Dreadhorde gets to convert into Krasis if the game goes on for a really long time. The issue for that is that I think we're at a point here where Thanakit is unlikely to be able to get Narset off the battlefield for the remainder of the game. If that happens, then the value of the Krasis is just so low. And that takes away a lot of the Sultai deck's late game edge.
And Krasis is just a 4/4 now. Of course, not going to be drawing any cards. Teferi is going to draw a card. We'll see where Rountree goes next. He might just be going to Teferi Time Raveler now to be able to bounce something.
And you can even bounce the Krasis if you want to.
Delay that a little longer, and that's exactly what he's going to do. He'll draw another card. Keep in mind that was another multicolored spell, is Teferi the Time Raveler. So that's 3 more tokens from Hero of Precinct 1. A Plains, another Teferi. That's 3 more tokens, from 9 to 12. Up to 5 goes the Teferi. Untap a couple of lands, pass the turn back over to Kevin Thanakit. It's getting tougher and tougher here for our Sultai Dreadhorde player, who still has, I believe, that Command the Dreadhorde in hand, but still not very much to do with it. And every attack that Kevin continues to make, it's the hope of being able to get his creatures into the graveyard. But now the Command the Dreadhorde plan is off the table because of a draw step Thought Eraser that was enabled by Teferi Time Raveler.
I think Thanakit's out of it at this point. I mean, his battlefield has nothing of substance going on. The Krasis is worth very little. Cast down is whatever. And Rountree's got a personal Howling Mine going into Teferi.
Yeah. Hard to argue with this one. You know, this Krasis is starting to look pretty mediocre. There's so many different ways for Rountree to be able to handle it, or at least delay it, and the fact that it's not drawing cards is a real burden. You're going to see Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, draw a card. We'll see where Rountree wants to go from here.
I mean, at this point, there's what, 1 copy of Command the Dreadhorde left that Rountree has to be mindful of?
Tameo as well.
Sure.
Getting it back from the graveyard. That's a real thing. 5 mana, it looks like. No, actually 6. Maybe not. All right, how about another one of these? More tokens. New Teferi. Get that one out of here. tuck it away.
130 Modern Challenge players.
Looks like it's time to untap a couple of lands here. Teferi Time Raveler used the plus. I think we might see another Thought Eraser in the draw step to take the Tamiyo that should be the draw step here, which I think, I think Colin knows that. He's tracked that well and didn't forget. So now Thought Eraser will allow him to do a little surveilling and put a card to the graveyard. He's played a very nice game here, has Colin Roundtree.
Especially, having missed his third land drop and third color of mana for first 3 turns of the game, 4 turns of the game, a while.
Cast Down going to finally finish off one of those heroes. Might be a little too late now, though, as Roundtree's going to untap all of these lands. Got to be feeling pretty darn good about things. And he might be able to get busy into the red zone soon because Thanakit doesn't have any cards in hand. He'll start by activating Teferi, Hero Dominaria, to draw a card.
Yeah, it's 21 tokens right now. So he's still a little ways away, but getting close. Slowed down a little bit because he lost one of his heroes, but
well, you might be able to do some 21 token attacks. That might leave you a little vulnerable.
The old Empty the Warrens.
Yeah.
Just alpha.
Gonna bounce an Oath of Kaya, draw a card now. Replay Oath of Kaya, because you might also be able to just clear the way for this. You play an Oath, maybe you finish off a Jade Light Ranger. You're going to get 2 more tokens, of course. These are going to be summoning sick. Now, I believe that should only be 2 tokens, not 3.
Yeah.
There's only 2 heroes. I see our table spotter right on it. And now the follow-up is a Teferi Time Raveler. That'll make some more tokens. That'll bounce Wild Growth Walker. I'd say the path's clear. Yeah, for a pretty healthy attack here. And no fear of dying on the counter swing.
Yeah, 2 jump blockers on the way back should come to it. Thanakit could, in theory, take all of this, but 4 tokens on the way back to block.
10 life's a lot.
Yeah.
There's the blocks. There will be an exchange. One thing that this does as well is it probably makes it so that Command the Dreadhorde isn't as scary either. Not that I think that really works itself into the equation very much anymore.
Well, Thanakit, there's not a whole lot going on in either player's graveyard, and Thanakit just took north of 20 damage, so...
And he knows he's beat. He's going to concede the game. So Colin Roundtree, after some stumbles and fumbles with the mana, drew not 1, not 2, but 3 copies of Hero of Precinct 1. And that's why he's going to have a 1 next to his name. He's on the board first here over Kevin Thanakit.
Yeah, Thanakit couldn't get any of his card advantage going and couldn't find a crisis in time before the game got locked up, and Rountree was able to just push ahead with his own Planeswalkers.
And these players not going to go to the sideboard yet because, again, here in our elimination rounds, it is the first 2 games that are pre-sideboarded and the final 3 that are not. But as these players still have the opportunity to take a look at deck lists and examine some things to make sure they do play these pre-sideboarded games, to the best of their ability, we want to talk about the Season 2 schedule here on the SCG Tour. Season 2 will be beginning very soon. June 29th and the 30th will be here sooner than you think, just a couple weeks away, but we want to give everybody a little bit of time to recharge and refresh before we head out to Pittsburgh for a Team Modern Open.
Then that'll get us into July with Worcester, Philadelphia, and Columbus. In August will be Richmond and Dallas. 1 Open in September. That's Legacy in Syracuse. October is stacked, though. Philadelphia to start the month, Indianapolis, the regional championships, October 19th, which is Modern, and then Atlanta at the end of the month. November and December, 1 event each. We'll be back here at the Berglund Center for SCGCon Winter featuring the Star City Games Invitational. That's November 14th through the 17th, and then after that, the Players' Championship, December 13th through the 15th.
Plenty of playmats available here for you folks. Of course, for our standard Open and Classic players, it's Captain's Quarters, illustrated by Titus Lunter. For our modern Open and Classic players, it's Aurora's Light, illustrated by John Avon. And for our Legacy Classic and Open players, it is Ripped from Reality, illustrated by Mark Teeden. Again, these playmats were designed exclusively for the SCG Tour, and they are free and exclusive playmats with entry into any Open, Classic, Infinite Challenge, or Sealed Spectacular package. Go to starcitygames.com/schedule for more information. Game number 2 about to be underway here. Colin Roundtree winning game number 1 after some slight stumbles and fumbles against Kevin Thanakit. Rountree also qualifying for Mythic Championship 3 in Barcelona. Big difference there. He's looking forward to going to that tournament. And I think a first or second place finish here has made maybe funding that trip a little bit easier, to say the least. So congratulations to Colin for that. And maybe he'll be our token. Maybe he'll be going into the Players' Championship. He's got to win 2 more games, but he's got a very formidable opponent across the table from him in Kevin Thanakit.
Got to feel good about getting that one, though, after how bad his opening draw appeared to be.
We're underway. Atlanta Wells is a great place to start here for Kevin Thanakit. He wants to get on the battlefield early, as there's a hollowed fountain for Rountree to start. Thanakit now has a Woodland Cemetery. This is a Merfolk Branchwalker. Trigger is a Hinterland Harbor. Blue mana will not be a problem. Might even be able to get in a point of damage, too, unless it's another Llanowar Elves, which it is. Okay. It's a pretty nice start here for Thanakit. Jeez.
Yeah, I mean, this is the opening that can facilitate something like Nissa or Tamiyo way ahead of schedule.
Does Rountree have a Thought Eraser or a Hero of Precinct 1 to be able to play Magic on the second turn of the game? He does not look thrilled at this start. Goblet Shrine's going to enter the battlefield untapped, and now there is a Thought Eraser. What's the opponent working with? It's Tamiyo, it's a Jadelight Ranger, a Vraska, and a Hinterland Harbor that was found via the Merfolk Branchwalker. Rountree saying, I got to get this Tamiyo out of here. Don't want to deal with that thing, as Teferi, Hero Dominaria, is surveilled to the graveyard.
You know, part of the issue here with this kind of opening, not only is Thanakit playing way ahead of schedule, but Rountree is going to have a lot more trouble in this game getting much out of his Planeswalkers.
Boy, Hydroid, Krasis, and Vraska are going to head to the graveyard. Now here's an attack for 4 points of damage. Rountree going to fall down to 14. Thought maybe he'd have some interest in maybe keeping that Hydroid Krasis, but Jadelight Ranger said, nah, put those to the graveyard. And Rountree without a third land again. Not sure he's going to wiggle his way out of this one, though.
No, this is asking a lot.
Tyrant Scorn is going to take care of the Jadelight Ranger. This will be a Wild Growth Walker. It'd be a good time for a third land, maybe an Oath of Kaya here, folks. Draw, Swamp. That'll be a good start. Rountree with some mana issues again this game. There aren't copies of Hero of Precinct 1 at this stage of things like there were in the last game. There's the Swamp. And now there's the Oath. It's going to take care of the Branchwalker, the smaller. Smaller's incorrect. I mean, it's the biggest creature on the battlefield, but I think Wild Growth Walker has the most potential on the battlefield.
Yeah, but I think Rountree kind of banking on, well, if Thanakit had an Explore creature in his hand, he would have cast it last turn. He had 5 mana. He could have played Wild Growth Walker plus a Jadelight Ranger or a Branchwalker. If you assume he doesn't have either one of those cards in his hand, the Wild Growth Walker isn't that threatening, and you're better off taking care of the 2-1.
Well, if you're Rountree, you're hoping Thanakit doesn't draw anything too deadly, hoping to fade Hydroid Krasis or Nissa Who Shakes the World. And Kevin, deep in thought here, leads me to believe that he has not found any of those power cards, so he's just going to attack here for 3. Rountree's going to fall down to 10. And there is a Vraska, Golgari Queen. Kevin will plus and pass it back over to Colin. Colin's got to be pretty happy with how things ended on that turn. Hopefully finding land number 4 is Rountree, but it doesn't look like he will. At least not yet.
Although with the Oath of Kaya, he can get a little bit of cushion here out of the Planeswalkers. If he plays it to Teferi and minuses, it's not the most appealing thing. You're not getting any real premium targets out of it. But it probably forces an attack from Thanakit on the way back. You get to trigger Oath of Kaya. You get a little bit more cushion here. Get some life to play with. And maybe make your land drops and start playing some of your better cards.
Rountree did not find the land off of the Teferi Time Raveler. Did bounce a Wild Growth Walker. Now you're going to see Vraska finish off the Teferi. This is going to be a pretty large Hydroid Krasis. It's going to be for 4. That'll allow Thanakit to draw 2 cards and gain a little bit of life as well. Watery Graveland of the battlefield tapped. We're heading back over to Rountree, who's still suffering from those mana issues. Picked up a copy of Tyrant's Scorn, but that's not exactly what the doctor ordered. I think he was more interested in land number 4. Time Raveler is going to bounce, and Llanowar Elves draw a card. I think he bricked on land again, and he did. We'll head back over to Thanakit now.
And now the decision is, do you bother trying to interact with the Planeswalkers here at all? Or do you just say, I'm not going to trigger Growth of Kaya and flood the battlefield, try to get the game over with?
Also have the option of maybe cashing in Vraska to finish it off.
Well, you could finish off the Oath of Kaya or the Teferi. Either of those work. I think you would prefer to plus the Vraska this turn to keep it around in the event that you want to use the minus mode the following turn. But if Thanakit thinks he's got a kill in 2 turns rolled up here, he may cash in Vraska right now.
Going to float a green and sacrifice Llanowar Elf here. Get a little life and draw a card. Okay. Up to 21 goes Thanakit.
Attention Magic players, if you signed up for the 4 p.m. Vintage Challenge, please make your way back to the site event registration.
Let's see what the plan is now. That is Llanowar Elf, so replacement one. Perhaps more Vraska fodder down the line. Now here comes Hydroid Crisis. Going to attack Rountree for 4, put him to 6. Big follow-up here for Kevin, perhaps. You do see there's a Tamiyo in hand. It's a pretty darn good Magic card. And there is Tamiyo. We'll see what the name is going to be here. The name was Nissa, who shakes the ground. But all that Tamiyo found was some ground to shake. 4 lands go into the graveyard. The follow-up is a Wild Growth Walker to passing of the turn from Thanakit over to Rountree. Not sure if Rountree found land number 4 or not. But you can see he's got some thinking to do. Behind in a myriad of ways, as he's going to tick up to Fairy. And now there's a hero. There's a land in Drowned Catacombs, going to pass the turn back. Keep in mind that sorceries can be played at instant speed now. Vraska's going to go after, I believe, the hero. Here's a Tyrant's Scorn.
Yeah, first order of business here is to sort of clarify the game state a little bit from Thanakit's side. See what Rountree's up to.
Tyrant Scorn took care of the Hydroid Crisis. Hero made a 1-1, then Hero died, of course, because of the Vraska activation. Uh-oh. You know what this means.
Yeah, if he's looking...
I suppose it could be a Tamiyo activation, not the full-blown Command the Dreadhorde. But it's bad news either way if you're Colin. We'll see what the name is this time. When the name was Command the Dreadhorde, it was a whiff, couple of cast downs, and a Tamiyo placed into the graveyard.
Attention Magic players, this is the last call for registration for today's 4:30 Modern
Time to attack.
If you would like to play today's 4:30 Modern Challenge, please
Suppose this token could trade with the Llanowar Elves.
We also have
But does Rountree actually need it alive?
in our last Modern Horizons for the weekend. If you would like to be
Looks like he's just going to take the whole hit here. I was going to say, I don't know if you're getting a whole lot better than Llanowar Elf here, but
make your way to the
he's
site
trying to set up a Planeswalker. He just might want to have a chump blocker for something bigger.
Here's a bunch of mana. That's another copy of Hydroid Crisis. So Thanakit's going to gain 2, draw 2, and have a 4/4 flyer on the battlefield. A lot of things to be happy about there for Kevin, as you continue to push your advantage and hope that Collin cannot catch back up. Hinterland harbors a land for the turn. We'll go back over to Rountree. Rountree always in good spirits at the table. A serious customer to be sure, but always having fun playing the games, as now here's Basilica Bellhaunt. Rountree going to go up to 7, makes his opponent discard a Merfolk Branchwalker, and he will simply pass the turn back.
So at 7 here, if you can get rid of both blockers, you have a lethal attack.
Strikes me as doable with Cast Down in the graveyard.
Excuse me, he's a point short as things currently stand, but one Explore trigger would get him over the line.
There's Cast Down on the Basilica Bellhaunt. This is a Jade Light Ranger.
This should do it here because now the Tameo can get the Cast Down out of the graveyard.
Oh, he's already used the Tameo to do that once this turn.
Oh, excuse me.
It would require another removal spell if there is one. Assassin's Trophy will work. Kill that, kill you. I think Colin wants to get his land.
Yeah.
Before being attacked, thank you. Kevin Thanakit's going to tie things up here against Colin Roundtree. Saltide Dreadhorde and Esper's Superheroes are all tied up. It's time to go to the sideboard guide. Colin wants to take a little breather here with so much on the line. Makes some sense. He'll BRB. Kevin might BRB as well. We're going to stay right here, at least for right now. Let's take a look at these sideboards. Let's start with Colin Roundtree. His 3 Lyra Dawnbringers, 3 Kaya's Wraths, 2 Elder Spells, 2 Duress, 2 Sparks, Nixlon's Binding, a Command the Dreadhorde, and a Cast Down.
I think he's going to want the Kaya's Wrath, be able to manage Thanakit's creatures, along with some stuff to handle the top end, the Elder Spells, the Duresses can come into that end. The D-Sparks, great here. I could even see the Cast Down coming in as just more ways to keep the battlefield clean and allow Rountree to begin leveraging his Planeswalkers much sooner in the game.
Well, we had the opportunity to have a little chit-chat with Colin on the floor with Matthias Sun about how he plans to approach and sideboard this matchup. So we'll throw there, and then we'll come back here and analyze Kevin's side of things.
All right, I'm here with Invitational finalist Colin Roundtree on Esper Superheroes. Now, this is a matchup you just played in the semifinals. You're playing against Dan Jessup. We're a 3-1 winner in it. Your opponent here, playing the same deck, a bit of a different sideboard. I know he has a Narset in it. What was the strategy you used against Dan, and are we going to go back to it for this round?
Yeah, so I just boarded in the Wraths, pretty much took out all the spot removal like Cast Down and Tyrant Scorns. I took out my Heroes, which... if Heroes unchecked, it's the best card in the matchup, but with the likelihood that they're leaving in the Veraskas, I just don't want to have it as a liability. So I've just been taking them out. Dan showed me that he was willing to leave in all the Veraskas, so I just kept them in the board. Again, if I don't see any Veraskas, I'm probably going to bring in the Heroes to just try to counteract some of the leveling and sideboarding, I guess, and board out the Wraths and then back in some more removal spells.
Yeah, you had said that in your semifinal match, that there's this balance between Wraths or Heroes depending on what your opponent is doing. But no matter what they're doing, what are the cards you really need to watch out for in these games?
Yeah, the card you're mostly looking out for is Tameo. It shuts down your Thought Erasures, your Duresses. It gets back the cards that you take with those cards as well, so it's like Eternal Witness in that sense as well. So, and then he has Elder Spell in his sideboard as well, so that can be a bit of a problem. And then if I have Bellhaunt, Nis is not as big of a problem because I can manage my life total, but I still have the problem where he can cast a huge Crisis, and that could take over the game as well.
Did you keep the Bellhaunts in the semifinal match? We didn't see too many of them on the battlefield.
Yes, I left them all in. You gotta have the Bellhaunts.
All right, well, best of luck here in the finals. We'll send it back to Patrick and Cedric in the booth.
That's Colin Roundtree. It looks like Kevin Thanakit. He wants out of here. He wants out. Maybe he's going to stay for a while. He's got 3 Ripjaw Raptors, 2 Thrashing Brantodons, 2 copies of the Elder Spell, 2 Disdainful Stroke, 2 Duress, a Vraska's Contempt, a Narset of his own, a Massacre Girl, and a Disdainful Stroke. All cards that we've kind of liked.
Yeah, the Disdainful Stroke, the Elder Spell, negates Duress, Vraska's Contempt, Narset, the Massacre Girl, and the Ripjaw Raptors and the Brontodons are for more low-end aggressive decks, and the rest of the sideboard is for matchups like this one.
Well, we got the opportunity to sit down and chat with Kevin as well, so we'll let him speak on what his plan is here for game number 3 and beyond.
Welcome here from the feature match area. I'm here with finalist Kevin Thanakit playing here against Colin Roundtree. So you've been playing Sultai Dreadhorde, and I know you were playing this matchup in the semifinals. So I want to talk about your strategy here as we switch over to the sideboarded games.
So in the sideboard games, I'm expecting to bring in Kaya's drafts. So the biggest thing, so I'm kind of cutting my Wild Growth Walkers, my Llanowar Elves, stuff that are really weak against board wipes. I'm going more of a try to drop a early Murfbrook Orange Walker or Jade Light, and then try to hold spells to counter the reactors counters. So Negate and Discernible Stroke is really big in this match. I think the hardest card that he's gonna have to deal with in this match is it's a Tamiyo. I think that's going to play a big play, especially after looking at his list. He's running 1 Command the Dreadhorde. I just have to be aware of his main deck Elder Spell. But regardless of that, I'm cutting about 8 creatures, and I'm bringing about 8 spells that kills Planeswalkers. I'm looking more of like these, and maybe a flex spot, maybe a cast down if he takes his heroes out.
Now, I know different than your semifinal match, Colin's deck doesn't have any counter magic in it post-board. Is that going to change how you play these games?
Yes. It plays a big factor. In my semis, I had to watch out for Dovin's veto, possible negate. I was trying to play around. Like, there's a turn that I could have Dreadhorded, but it was so obvious that he was pretty much showing his hand that he had the veto. So I kind of waited and hoped I could draw a Duress or negate to protect my command. I think in this finals match is going to come down to the command the Dreadhorde resolving it, and I think that's pretty much what it's going to come down to.
All right, we'll hope that happens. We'll send it back to Patrick and Cedric with the finals.
Well, you've got to hear from the players. Now we're going to get to watch them play game number 3 and beyond. And how they plan on sideboarding, we now know, or at least have a better idea of it. But now we're going to get into the nitty-gritty. This should be fun. So much on the line here. An invite to the Players' Championship. Free entry and buys into Opens and Classics. Their likeness on a card, and I guess $20,000 for first, $10,000 for second. Not a bad payday.
No, a fine weekend's work.
Seems like a fine weekend's work of worth. Maybe they'll be joining us at the after party too, here in beautiful Roanoke, Virginia. Though I gotta say,
are they invited?
Yeah, sure.
You sure?
Sure, I'll invite them. That'll be my +1.
Okay.
How about that?
Yeah, my +1's still open.
It's been a rainy weekend here in the Nook, though.
Yeah.
Sun has not been shining. We got a lot of clouds. The rain machine's been on all weekend long. Was barely even able to land.
Really took a lot of the fun out of the dunk tank.
Did, actually. I heard many things about it being very cold outside for the dunk tank. So
yeah.
You know what? I say we bring the dunk tank back for winter outside. Really make them feel it. I will not participate in said dunk tank, but I'm thinking ice cold.
I don't know. I thought the dunk tank was already pushing up against an acceptable line.
Oh, stop.
Busting it out in November
have
is
a little fun.
I think unprofessional.
It's not the word I'd use. I'd say mandatory. Though, once again, I will not be participating in any dunk tank-related activities.
Mm-hmm.
For I do not like to be submerged in water whatsoever. It is one of my least favorite things in the world. Pittsburgh, 3 weeks.
I know. It's like it doesn't end.
The break will be nice. The break will be nice.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we've been going at it. We did Louisville 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Did Richmond 3 weeks before
getting
that.
shades of my former life on the road.
You say you want to do that again. I don't know, pal.
You know, been mulling. I'm all over a lot of options, you know.
That's good.
I take all the phone calls, as you know.
I know you do.
I think I might have broken something under the desk. Hold on.
What?
Oh, never mind.
What?
That's good. There's something down here. I thought I kicked something loose, but it's just some box.
Okay.
Let's see what we got going on here.
Oh, sure. It's probably an important box.
A little treasure trove. It's
Yeah.
labeled Star City Games, and it's empty. Okay, great.
Well, it holds all the screws that holds the desk together, so please keep
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I'll leave it down there. I just want to,
Don't stand on
just
that.
felt something pop loose. Be a bad way for the broadcast to go out.
The desk just comes crumbling down. That's true. Could get us a new desk. We just got these cozy chairs. You think Carnox makes desks?
Nah, but we could get that sponsorship locked
Yeah.
up.
Who makes desks out there? I don't want an IKEA sponsorship. I'll take a Crate and Barrel desk. Talk to me about Crate and Barrel. You ever go there? You got
Crate
a
and
house?
Barrel? Yeah, I have.
I bet you hate that.
I do.
Yeah.
Not true.
I love a little C&B.
It's actually kind of fun to just. The kids are just fascinated by everything,
So am I.
and that makes it fun.
There's a lot of stuff in there that no one needs, and I love it. And I don't know if you knew this. There's a C&B too.
No, I didn't know that.
That's the college version. Because there's one on the University of Washington campus.
That one escaped my current news and events alert, I suppose.
I was at the C&B a couple months ago. They didn't have something I was looking for. They said, "You ever been to C&B too?" I was like, "No, of course not. Never even heard of that before."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one on the other side of the city. Probably has a table you're looking for. They didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I drove over there and didn't check online. I just drove on over. It's a waste of a day. But I'm a big C&B fan. C&B and Bed Bath & Beyond.
Any excuse to drive out to a college campus and show off to the kids how much my life is in order.
That's just not even close to true.
Look at me buying a desk.
Yep, buying an overpriced desk that I'm not going to see because I'm never home.
Yep.
That's right.
Which won't fit in my car.
That's definitely true.
I don't know how to assemble it. It's going to stay in the box forever.
There are plenty of things in boxes at home. It's a lot of work to assemble things.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of work. That's why I'm like anti-IKEA. You got to assemble everything. I am not a handyman.
The children had the time of their lives at IKEA when we went recently.
Did you get them like hot dogs? They got food there and stuff too.
Yeah, no, we had a lunch there.
Okay.
Ran around the store, got in all sorts of trouble. I show you the photo of Griffin lounging in the bin full of sheepskins.
Yeah.
Loved it. They're so happy.
Kevin on a mulligan of 5. Colin not doing much better. Which is more of a labyrinth, Minnesota Airport or IKEA?
Minnesota Airport.
All right.
IKEA's just got a lot of stuff in there. There's at least an excuse.
Both players going to start with some dual lands entering the battlefield tapped. Thought Eraser is going to select Nissa, who shakes the world. Going to leave Thanakit with a Merfolk Branchwalker. Thanakit's got lands, so that won't be an issue, and Branchwalker might find another one. Thought Eraser is going to surveil a Basilica Bellhaunt into the graveyard. This is a Branchwalker. Trigger, Forest, land is found. Again, Thanakit's going to have no mana issues this game, even though it's a mulligan of 5. He's got to find some spells, though. As Rountree's got 2 blue-black lands, there's a white mana source. That is a Teferi Time Raveler. Bounce that Branchwalker. Draw a card. Duress, not bad. Rountree's got plenty of spells in his deck. A couple copies of Kaya's Wrath, another Teferi Time Raveler, Basilica Bellhaunt, and a Swamp is the hand he's looking at. No second white source for that Bellhaunt, though.
Yeah, this hand really comes together with a second white mana. You can see the premium also on taking Nissa, even though it's a 5-mana card with that initial Thought Erasure, because Rountree's hand is so good against creatures that all he has to be mindful of is Planeswalkers.
At least at this stage of things, that's for sure. Thanakit going to take a long look before selecting with Duress. Again, Teferi Time Raveler is probably the best option. That's exactly what will be taken. Going to have to beat 2 Kaya's Wraths now, though. Basilica Bellhaunt and Swamp. The rest of the hand there for Rountree. Duress is done resolving. This is a Forest. That's a Merfolk Branchwalker. There is a trigger. Disdainful Stroke is the reveal. There's a reason you kind of want to keep that card. But at the same time, there's a Teferi Time Raveler on the other side of the battlefield, so you might want to let it go.
Yeah. He's not going to get a counter spell this game.
You don't know. Let's see if Rountree drew a white source. Plus, Watergrave, done. So now he gets to draw a Disdainful Stroke and kill the Teferi Time Rattler.
All right.
So
Perhaps I'm too pessimistic.
maybe he does get to cast a counter spell. We'll have to find out. Everything worked out on that particular turn, I will say that. This is a Jadelight Ranger. Trigger 1 is a Forest. 2 is a Branch Walker. That's going to go to the graveyard. Jadelight Ranger is a 3-2, and it drew a card. We're heading back over to Rountree now. He needs a second white source to be able to play Kaya's Wrath. He is going to play Kaya's Wrath. Take 2 to do it, but now he's cleared away those creatures.
I like Rountree's demeanor at the table a lot.
He enjoys himself when he plays Magic.
Are you sure?
Oh, yeah.
That's okay.
Trust me, I watched him of his backup matches this weekend. He's having fun at the table. 22-year-old from Texas, likes to play, pretty darn good at playing.
I'm into it.
We're going to head back his way now.
You know what? Plays quickly.
Basilica Bellhaunt gets countered by Disdainful Stroke. Swamp, pass the turn. We're back to Thanakit. Both these guys play fast. They got places to be. I respect it. That's a Massacre Girl. A little bit of a surprise there, perhaps, but it's on the battlefield.
Maybe this is a concession to Hero.
Yeah. Watergrave's going to enter the battlefield tap. Maybe a little bit of frustration on Rountree side, looking to draw something of relevance as Massacre Girl's going to come in here for 4 points of damage. This Human Assassin is a legendary creature, 5 mana, 4/4 with Menace, so it's going to be pretty tough to block. When Massacre Girl enters the battlefield, each other creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn. Whenever a creature dies this turn, each creature other than Massacre Girl gets -1/-1 until end of turn. So it's a kill spree. Awesome flavor on that card, and I've seen it kill entire battlefields before, and I'm sure we will see that happen again. As Thanakit is tapping 4 mana for a Tameo, that's going to resolve. Looks like interested in getting back a Duress. Perhaps. Thanakit taking a little while on this decision. Going to go with Duress now. And going to fire that off. So, Oath of Kaya and Kaya's Wrath. Oath of Kaya is going to bite the dust. Kaya's Wrath still in hand. Now be a pretty good time to draw Command of the Dread Horde.
Even Teferi Hero Dominaria would be a big one.
Yep. Just a Glacial Fortress. Kaya's Wrath still in hand. Tameo's going to go on up. Pick a card, any card. I don't think this is a bad name. We'll see what the selection is. It's Command the Dread Horde. It's a whiff. Both players want it. It's getting worse for Rountree, though, because he's got less life to work with. He'll draw a card. He'll play Oath of Kaya. That's timely because it's going to finish off that. Now, do you cast Kaya's Wrath to finish off the Massacre Girl?
No, I would give it another turn. It paralyzes a lot of Thanakit's possible draws here. You know, what do you do if you draw a Hydroid Crisis, for example?
How about an Narset? That's not too
Perfect. Lines up very well against the Kaya's Wrath.
Top couple of cards here for Thanakit. Did he find a Command the Dread Horde? Remember that Narset's a 1-of in the sideboard. It's timely right now for Kevin, who needed a big draw this turn to get himself further ahead in this game, and it looks like he may have found it.
Yeah, I think it's in the sideboard on only one copy, not because of power level, but because double blue is hard for his deck to put together.
Tameo is going to be the find. It can be cast here. First things first, Massacre Girl's going to come in and deal 4. Roundtree's going to fall down to 9. Now Tameo's in. We'll see if Tameo wants to return something from the graveyard, or if it will name something, it's going to return Nissa Who Shakes the World. And this game's getting mighty difficult here for Colin Roundtree.
Yeah, all things being equal, there's an incentive for Thanakit to get things out of the graveyard to try to dampen the effect of Command the Dread Horde on the other side. Also, make sure he gets his money in case Roundtree draws a removal spell for the Tameo.
This is an Narset for Colin Roundtree. He is going to minus that and take a look at the top 4 cards. Oh, no. Oh, no.
You hate to see it.
Oh, boy. All 4 to the bottom and still not willing to play the Kaya's Wrath yet. That is tough to watch. Tameo's going to go up. Command the Dread Horde was the name last time. Vraska's Contempt is a reveal here. Command the Dread Horde looks like it was the name again this time, and was not able to find it again. Narset going to go down. Three and 4. That is an Assassin's Trophy. Colin wants to make sure that's good and random right there.
Give it a good shuffle.
That's right. Both Planeswalkers have been used this turn, but there's one waiting in the wings here for Kevin Thanakit. And it may be the best of the bunch in Nissa, who shakes the world. That Planeswalker is going to go up, and that means the land's going to turn into a creature. Thanakit deciding which one it's going to be. And now that Hinterland Harbor is a 3-power creature. It might be worth knocking off the Narset here. It's not going to be a lethal attack.
So many dangerous spells in Rountree's deck. I understand the pain of dragging this game out because you get hit with the Oath of Kaya trigger. Kaya's Wrath happens the following turn. You're ahead on the battlefield, but it's going to take you several turns to get it over with. But you got to cut off as many Rountree's draws as possible.
I mean, if he draws Elder Spell right now, it would really turn this game around if Elder Spell plus Wrath you.
Right.
So I think you have to kill Narset in that situation, and that was exactly what happened. If the Elder Spell in matchups like this, it's always got to be on the back of your mind. Normally you'd think you're super far ahead with all those Planeswalkers on the battlefield, but there's one spell that can undo them all. Going to start things off here with a Thought Eraser. Yep. Tamiyo on the battlefield.
Yeah. Doesn't work.
I don't know if you even get to see the hand. Spells ability is your opponent's control.
Yeah.
You don't discard anything.
Right, yeah.
You get to see stuff, yeah.
Right.
And you still get to surveil, but they don't have to discard anything. Assassin's Trophy, still hanging out in hand along with Tamiyo. We're going to go over to Kevin Thanakit. He drew Command the Dreadhorde. We're done. If we weren't done before, we're almost certainly done now.
Well, also, Rountree's losing the ability to do anything with Command the Dreadhorde himself because it's just his life total is just diminishing too much.
Yep. And Colin is going to pack him up and pack him in and get ready to begin game number 4 as Kevin Thanakit does win game 3. He's 1 game away from being your Season 1 Invitational champion.
And that was a mulligan to 5 there, but the Explorer creatures gave him a base of material to work with to get off the ground. Rountree flooded out, didn't really get an opportunity to do much with his Planeswalkers, and looked bad. I mean, you mulligan to 5 cards, your opponent opens on a discard spell. That's supposed to be a game that's nearly impossible to win, but Thanakit was able to do it.
You got to remember, Thanakit's hand had plenty of lands in it after the mulligan to 5, and Merfolk Branchwalker found another one. So casting spells was never really going to be an issue in that game. It was more so drawing and finding spells, and fortunately for Kevin, he did plenty of that as we prepare to get ready for our 4th game of this match, perhaps our final one of the tournament. Quick shout out to our players that have qualified for the Players' Championship here this weekend in Abe Corrigan, Matthew Dilks, and Oliver Tomiko. They'll be joining Joe Lissette in Roanoke, Virginia at the end of this year for the Players' Championship. And one of these players will be 2. And then we'll have to work our way through a very busy season number 2 to see who's going to be headed to the Players' Championship later this year.
3 weeks.
I know.
3 weeks. Can check right now. Give me 1 moment. 1 moment here.
What's that?
When is my check-in for my flight to Pittsburgh?
While you're working on that, I'm going to go over the Star City Games weekly sale for the last time this week.
Go ahead.
I got to sell some cards to the company. So
18 days.
18 days?
18 days.
This sale's not going to last that long. It's only going to last a couple more hours. So go to starcitygames.com/sale. Save on some old school cards like Power Artifact and what is this?
Exorcist. Ollie from Cairo. Lightning Bolt, some classic tracks, those and many others over at go.starcitygames.com/sale.
New sale, 11 a.m. East Coast time. East Coast time. Probably like 18 hours from now, honestly. You said what 18 days you get to check in?
18 days and 2 hours.
You didn't get that upgrade though?
Probably not.
No. Where is it? Pittsburgh? Is that direct for you?
No, not very little is direct for me.
Where are we connecting? Detroit Rock City, probably. You in Delta?
Yeah.
There it is.
Connecting through.
I really hope it's not Atlanta, man. I hope you don't have to do the down up.
Connecting through Minneapolis, St. Paul.
The Labyrinth.
Return flight connecting through Detroit. Yeah.
Detroit wins the award for worst airport food for a major airport.
It is.
Couldn't tell you where to eat in there.
I typically don't.
They got 9 steins? No, I think that closed, actually. And that's not even good. That was the response I was hoping for.
They had an Einstein's, they shut it down.
They got a P.F. Chang's. Not particularly fond of that place. Wendy's. And Qdoba on one of the far sides. Yeah, that's right. There's a Popeyes, like, in the middle. And, like, Popeyes is good. But not, like, excited about it.
McDonald's is always there.
How do you feel about Max and Irma's?
I don't know what that is.
Okay. It's an appropriate answer once again.
This pile shuffling one at a time.
Hey, he's up 2-1.
Kevin?
He can do whatever he wants.
Kevin, it's been a really good run so far. I've enjoyed watching you play.
He's about to turn heel on him.
We got to clean this up.
Okay. Had a chat with him post-match about etiquette.
What about it? Oh, you want me? Okay. Well, we got to swap. We got to swap myself and Matthias here, so I can go up to him and say, congratulations, Kevin Thanakit, on winning the Players' Championship. Just one question.
Invitational.
Invitational, just one question for you. Yep. Why did you pile shuffle?
That's right. Yeah, you have that microphone?
I have exactly one question for you, no follow-ups. What was up with that pile shuffle?
Ari Lax chiming in. One of Michigan's finest children.
Okay.
The Detroit airport food answer is the Coney Island. That's the Coney dog place.
Okay.
No clue what else is playable, but that 100% is. That assumes that you like hot dogs, which is a safe assumption about me, because they are nutritious and delicious.
They're very good for you. It's well known. It's the nutritional benefits of hot dogs, airport hot dogs in particular.
I think it's underdocumented.
In particular, it is well documented.
Yeah. Both these players are going to take a look at their opening hands. We are underway with a Godless Shrine into a duress. Rountree down to 18. Cast down, Command the Dread Horde. Duress among the options, and the Elder Spell. And only 2 lands here for Thanakit, but, Jade Light Ranger is here to save the day, probably.
Yeah. Hand's a little light on mana, given the requirements here, but Jade Light Ranger hopefully can move it along.
It's a little loose, as the kids say.
It's okay. It's got some early stuff to do. A lot of green sources in the deck to draw, too.
Duress you back. Elder Spell, Hero of Precinct 1, ×2, Oath of Kaya ×1.
Rountree with a similar can't mulligan, can't win opening hand.
Yes, one of my favorites.
So, yes. Hand's now 2 Grizzly Bears, a 6-mana spell.
Ever heard of it?
One more land.
Elder Spell costs 2.
Oh, excuse me. I thought that was I thought that was a command.
That's all right. That's why I'm here.
Thanks, man.
Forest. Thanakit drew a Hinterland Harbor. Lucky. This is another Hero of Precinct 1. Colin Roundtree, 3rd land. Just throw that Drowned Catacombs onto the battlefield. Thanakit with the Hinterland Harbor. This is a Jade Light Ranger. 2 triggers, that's 1. Branchwalker into the bin, and 2. Tamio, where are you going to go? 4-3 Jade Light, BT dub.
I mean, at this point, it's possible you just want to pass through the Planeswalkers, given the opposing Elder Spell.
Thought Eraser. See hand with a Elder Spell, Command the Dread Horde, Hydroid Crisis, and a Forest. Pretty tough decision. I'm going to go Command the Dread Horde, though.
Yeah, I mean, the Crisis is can be played. I think that if you didn't know about the Tamio, there'd be an argument to take the Crisis and just try to cut him off of a good 4-mana play that keeps the material moving along. But once you know about the Tamio in hand, that already kind of covers that need for Thanakit. You just need to take away the top end.
Makes sense. Because I think you're probably working under the assumption here if you're Colin Roundtree, we're going to play some more Magic here.
Right.
This game's going to be pretty long. Here is Tamio. Got to start on 5. Elevator going up or down? That is the question. And if it's going up, what are we naming? Kevin Thanakit has been fond of naming Nissa Who Shakes the World. We could see that again. So, Nissa is the name. How do we do? Jade Light, Cast Down, Watery Grave, and Tamio. Going to go to the graveyard. We're going to go over to Rountree. He'll draw a card.
I think I would have had a preference there for just getting, just guaranteeing getting your money there.
Just getting a card back. Period.
Picking up a duress or something.
Sure. We're going to head back over to Thanakit now as the Elder Spell takes care of the Tamio because it whiffed. Kevin with a Hinterland Harbor. This is Hydroid Crisis. Just going to draw one card.
Just keeping the ball rolling, though.
Yep. And 3/3 flyer is bigger than everything that Collin is doing. So we head back over to Collin now.
And a 3/3 flyer also just takes a lot of the wind out of the sails of Rountree's best draws. Something like the Fairy Time Raveler or even Narset is a lot more modest than that.
Thought Eraser going to take care of the Hydroid Crisis in hand. We're going to head back over to Kevin, who's only got a copy of the Elder Spell in hand before drawing a card for the turn, but he is reaching for mana. He's going to start by attacking with the Hydroid Crisis. Did he draw a relevant spell? If you're Colin Roundtree, you're hoping the answer is no. And it is no. It's just an Overgrown Tomb. We go back over to Rountree.
Even a removal spell for a J-Light Ranger here would be a really big tempo swing. I was almost, from Thanakit's perspective, I almost wanted to hang back with the Hydroid Crisis because now this is happening.
And
and
this is bad news.
Rountree might be able to win this game just by going wide and attacking.
Teferi's going to come down. It's going to bounce a J-Light Ranger, which is going to allow Rountree to attack for 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 points of damage. Now, yes, Thanakit does have an answer to the Teferi in the Elder Spell, but Teferi already did its job.
Right. That was a huge attack.
Here is J-Light Ranger, Trigger, Woodland Cemetery. Next one, Hinterland Harbor. Drew 2 cards, but it's only a 2/1, which means it trades with everything that's on the battlefield.
I think that attack last turn for the Hydroid Crisis, the ceiling on that attack is not that high, and the floor is incredibly low. And it's not like Rountree has not that many draws at it. It's any gold removal spell, any gold planeswalker makes the board look like this.
Yep. Oath of Kaya, 5 mana Teferi.
Right, yeah.
Most
a lot of
stuff's gonna get
draws.
done.
It's a lot of draws.
Abigail Helms, please report to the event stage for missing item.
Thanakit's thinking about playing that Elder Spell on Teferi. I think you're better served saving it.
Yeah, you just got to hang back now, I suppose.
This is 4 mana. What do we got here? Basilica Bellhaunt. Going to make you discard. Trigger twice with the Hero of Precinct 1's plural. Gain a little bit of life, too. And I like this. Everybody get in here. Just going to go wide. You're going to block the 2-power creatures almost assuredly. And that's going to bring across a bunch of damage. Should be 6 of it. What this also does a great job of here, if you're calling Rountree, is it makes it so that Command the Dreadhorde is not really an out in this situation.
Right. Just run down his life total and cut that out of the game.
Thanakit's going to knock the deck. I think he's looking for Massacre Girl.
I mean, it would get him back to parity. He could knock off the Teferi Time Raveler and then sweep up everything else.
Mm-hmm. Well, with the way that he has drawn his card and the way he's thinking about this turn, I don't think that was the draw step. That is part of the reason the Massacre Girl comes in after sideboard. He's going to check out the graveyard here. And give things a pretty long look.
Doesn't have it.
Doesn't have it indeed. Colin Roundtree is going to tie this thing up here against Kevin Thanakit. 2-2. Colin going to take a step away. He wants to get ready for his 5th and final game of the tournament. The one for it all. Winner of this game and match is going to go to the Players' Championship. $20,000 invites, free entry and buys to our Opens and Classics and their likeness on a card. We're going to watch that unfold after this short break. Both these players starting to feel the pressure a little bit here. It's been fun so far to watch them battle, but there's one final game here for it all. First place, $20,000. An invite to the StarCityGames.com Players Championship later this year. Free entry and buys into our Opens and Classics here in 2019. And I can't forget about their likeness on a card. They're going to have to try to top that Andrew Jessup Monarch Tarkin, which that's not going to happen.
No.
But one can try.
And
one can try.
These games are extremely hard to play.
Yes.
Very mentally taxing. And we're talking about the third day of playing Magic at this level in matchups this grindy and this where the details matter. You can't just have these handholds for how you play the matchup. You have to look at the peculiarities of the life totals and the board positions and such. And just one more game to decide it.
You know, I've just been asked a question on Twitter that I'd be happy to answer. Airport with the best food. My answer to this, very easy, actually.
You know, I can only speak to the ones that I've connected through. It's a tough one. Denver actually does pretty well for itself on that front.
Okay.
Denver does okay.
Two answers. One, because I basically live here. Atlanta.
Okay.
Lots of gates. They got a lot of options for food, some sit-down places in the international gates, blah, blah, blah. A lot of good options for food. And one airport I never fly through, and the only reason I like this airport is because the food is good. O'Hare.
We'll never connect through there.
That's the worst airport in the world.
We'll never connect through
It's the worst
there.
airport in the world. It has magnificent food. Garrett's Popcorn. It's got Rick Bayless's Mexican restaurant. I believe it's called Tortas. Got Chicago Dogs Aplenty, which is the best hot dog on the planet. Great food in Chicago Airport. Your flight will not leave on time.
You have plenty of opportunities to stay up late.
Plenty of time to eat.
You can get breakfast, lunch, and dinner before you take off.
That is correct. It is the world's worst airport for how big it is and how much it has to shuttle people. And there's some people out there that don't like Atlanta Airport. I don't understand what you're looking for in an airport if you don't like that place.
Yeah, I mean, it's big with a lot of traffic.
But
and
it's very
that's all
organized.
right. It's you don't like big airports, that's fine. Whatever, but it's not like Atlanta's especially bad as far as those things go.
It's got a choo-choo train.
Unlike O'Hare, which is
Or LAX.
non-functional.
Heinous design, LAX.
It has charms.
No, it doesn't. It has no charm. It's always under construction, for example.
I used to live about 10 minutes from there, and that was, where I was flying out of, obviously. I got the rhythm down. It is bad. It is extremely bad. But I got my head around it eventually.
I have not met one person that's like, hey, I like this airport. It hasn't happened. Let's get a quick pile in. You want to bet? You want to bet Kevin Pile shuffles?
Come on, yo. Even just suggesting it feels like there's like a butterfly effect. It affects the atmosphere.
It's coming. I can feel it. I can feel it in my plums. Let him watch. Both nervous. Some good nervous energy.
Yeah, right. It's normal. It would be weird not to be,
I'm just saying, let's lay out 6 piles of cards.
And piles of 10. To verify.
Oh!
All right, I didn't have a horse in the race until now.
You are safe. It is fitting. Most of these matches here in the top 8 have gone to 5 games. It's that kind of format, I think. I really do.
Yeah, well, play draw matters a lot, and also I think even if you can say a deck has a particular advantage, it's not by so much that you'd expect these matchups to be 3-0s and 3-1s.
Well, the player's going to take a look at the opening hand. Kevin sending it back right away. Colin with a big, big, big grin on his face.
Yeah.
His hand must be the nuts.
I don't know.
That's the happiest I've ever seen another human being. Are you kidding me? Look at him. He's thinking about coming back to Roanoke already for the Players' Championship. Look how happy he is. He knows he's got it. I've been there.
Happy that your opponent's mulliganing? I know, I've seen it.
That too.
Just beside yourself with rapturous joy at watching your opponent send back their hand.
Always happy to take one on the house.
Does he have 7 cards laid out?
I think he's got 6 laid out. He's looking at 6.
Okay. I mean, I'm not going to stop him. Do whatever you want, but
I will. I will.
I thought he had 7 laid out there.
Green means go. Kevin begins with a Water Grave that enters the battlefield tapped. Goblet Shrine here for Colin Roundtree. Does Thanakit have a 2-mana spell to play? Perhaps a discard spell. Breeding Pool's going to enter the battlefield untapped. Thanakit's going to fall down to 18. Drawn Catacombs into Hero of Precinct 1. No negates.
Cannot be targeted by negate as it is a creature.
That is correct. Negate is what the card is in hand. We're going to head back over to Rountree. He'll start by attacking here for 2. Thanakit's going to fall down to 16. I think he's got another hero to play. And he does. Does he have a 3rd land? It's going to enter the battlefield tapped here in Water Grave, and it's a great start here for Rountree. You can see why he had such a big smile before the game began. Thanakit is going to play an Assassin's Trophy. Boy, that hurts.
Yeah, that stings. I mean, early on in the game, the mana development, the ability to play 2 spells in 1 turn is huge. But I don't know if Thanakit could really afford to do nothing with this mana yet again.
It'll be a Hinterland Harbor there for Kevin.
If he wants to follow up with a Planeswalker, he kind of has to get at least one of the Grizzly Bears off the battlefield because I don't have enough cover otherwise.
No Planeswalker to play either, so that negate is still at the ready. You have to imagine Rountree is aware of this. Might be leading with a specific spell to be negated. Four mana. Perhaps it's the Bell Haunt? It is.
Again, he sniffed out that negate on turn 2 with the Breeding Pool untapped. If it was a removal spell, you probably would have seen it right there, so Rountree is not going to let Thanakit get anything profitable from this negate as long as he can afford to do other things with his mana.
Thanakit's got to figure out what card he wants to discard. It's a tough way to go here for Kevin, who has had such a great top 8, and he's going to finally discard that negate that he was holding up for a couple of turns. We're going to head back over to Kevin now. He needs a little something to do here.
He's just so light on resources. It's just got nothing going on right now.
Jadelight Ranger's going to reveal Duress. I think you got to let that one go. Maybe looking for a land. Assassin's Trophy going to let that one go too. So it's a 4/3 Jadelight Ranger, which can trade with the Basilica Bell Haunt. But I have a feeling that Mr. Rountree might have something to do about that.
And that inhale from Rountree, his shields were down that 1 turn, and Thanakit couldn't capitalize. I think he can sense that he's about to get this wrapped up.
Oath to Kai is going to take care of that Jadelight Ranger. Here is a Thought Erasa. Boy, there goes Massacre Girl, too. That was something to work towards to clear up this whole battlefield. Thanakit's going to draw a card. It might be his last one of the tournament, unfortunately, for Kevin. And it is. Colin Roundtree is going to win this game and match here over Kevin Thanakit. 3-2. Esper Super Friends is going to take care of Sultai Dreadhorde. And for Colin Roundtree, you're going to get a whole bunch of stuff, but most notably an invite to the